So again, just like any other week, if anything happens, just send a chat or whatever. I will see it over here. So if you want to find whatever rest looks like for you, Shavasana, modified Shavasana, whatever that is. Beautiful. And as we begin to arrive on our mat this evening, I invite you to take a nice cleansing breath. Slowly in through the nose, filling up your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And exhale, sigh it all out. Let it go. One more time. Nice, slow inhale through the nose, filling up all the spaces in your body. And really exhale, sighing everything out, letting it go. And just starting to release yourself onto the mat beneath you. Arriving in the peaceful embrace of your breath. Letting each inhale and exhale relieve you of the need to hold on to anything that does not serve you. Allowing your breath to cradle the soft parts of you. Feeling its natural rhythm as it moves in and out, in and out, flowing just like waves on a beautiful sandy beach. Starting to anchor yourself in this moment with your breath. And if your mind starts to wander, or you start to tell yourself stories, just gently bring yourself back with a breath, tuning in and arriving here in the moment. And just staying here with your breath for a few more cycles of inhalations and exhalations. And in your next few moments, if your body feels like it's ready for movement, I invite you maybe just to start with a deep breath. And then when it feels right for your body, starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And then expanding those movements when you're ready, but always remembering you can stay here in stillness as long as you need. We can roll at our wrists and our ankles, maybe rocking our head slowly from side to side. Beautiful. Coming back to stillness, reaching our legs out long, arms up overhead in that big reach stretch, really reaching nice and long, creating tension in our bodies as we inhale. And then as we exhale, really soften, let it go onto the mat. Beautiful. This time as we inhale, perhaps we interlace our fingers, pressing our palms to the wall behind us as we inhale, reach nice and long. And exhale, letting it go. Beautiful. Hugging our knees in towards our chest one at a time. And finding stillness or rocking side to side. Maybe even shoulder to shoulder, kidney to kidney, if that feels good for you. Beautiful. Coming back to stillness, reaching the left leg out long, flexing the toes gently towards the face, hugging that right knee in, shoulders back and down. As Molly takes a drink here. Beautiful. On our next breath, we're going to bend that left leg, plant that left foot on the mat, reaching our right hand just below the right knee. Left hand could be planted on our hip or on the mat. And we're just going to open up our right hip a little bit here, pulling that knee up just gently towards our armpit into a half happy baby. This might be enough for you right now. Remembering to be kind to yourself if this is the first movement you've had. If you'd like a little bit more, we can reach through the inside or the outside of the sole, pulling that knee down towards the mat. Making sure our tailbones just stays rooted on the mat as well. Just a nice hip opening. And if that right foot is lifted, we're going to bend that heel towards the bum and we're going to reach this right leg out long and then hug the right knee in this, or the left knee in this time. Beautiful. Right toes gently flexed. Maybe we make sure our shoulders are down the back of our body here. Really hugging that knee in towards the chest. And then on our next breath, bending that right foot, planting that right knee, planting the right foot on the mat. Left hand just below that knee, right hand on our hip or on the mat, and opening that hip up, pulling the knee gently towards the armpit here. And then again, if you'd like a little bit more, you can reach through holding on to a half happy baby. Beautiful. If that knee is bent, we're going to bring that heel towards the bum. And then we're going to plant the left foot on the mat to meet the right. We're going to find a bridge pose. So again, finding whichever pose is comfortable for you, walking your heels in or a little bit further out. Maybe we tuck our shoulders under our body just a little bit here. Hips in line with our knees pointing straight ahead, rooting into our shoulders and all four corners of our feet. And on our next exhale, we're really squeezing our glutes as we lift our hips up to the sky here. Opening up the front of the body. Maybe our chin is just gentle towards the chest. Holding here for a couple of breaths. And then on our next breath, slowly rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Beautiful. We can remove our feet further away from our body, the edge of the mat, windshield washer that out from side to side. Maybe our arms going cactus or T if that feels better. Maybe we look the opposite way as our knees fall. Gentle rotation of our spine here. Beautiful. And then coming back to center, we're going to reach our right or our left arm over our head, rolling over onto our right or our left side body here, using our bicep as a pillow. Pausing for a breath. And then pressing through our palm, and we're going to make our way into seated to start here. So finding your seated lotus pose, however that looks for you. Again, I invite you to bring in props if that feels better. You can sit on a block or a pillow if that's more comfortable. You can also find kneeling if cross-legged is a little too much for you. We're just going to start with some sun breaths here. So we're going to inhale our arms up to the sky, nice and slow. And exhaling down through our heart center. One more time, inhaling nice and slow, reaching up to the sky. Maybe we even look at better fingertips. And exhale, pulling it all into our heart center. Beautiful. We're going to release that. Hands can just be gentle on our legs or on our knees. And we're going to drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then the left ear towards the left shoulder. Beautiful. Coming back to center, we're going to look right and left. Back to center, we're going to look up to the sky. Spine is still straight, so we're just lifting our chin. And then exhale, bringing our chin towards our chest. Beautiful. Coming back to center, and we're going to maybe give our neck a little some half circles here. Maybe we circle to the left and then to the right. Maybe it feels good to do a full circle, drawing almost like a circle in the sky with our nose. Just working anything out there. Beautiful. We're going to come back to center. We're going to reach our hands behind us. Maybe we interlace them. Maybe we just hold on to opposite forearms. We're just going to let them your hands or your forearms gently rest on the low back here. I'll move to help see this. And then we're just going to reach our hands back just a little bit, bringing our hands toward the left hip. And then we're going to tip the right ear towards the right shoulder. Just giving our neck a little bit different of a stretch here. Spine is still nice and tall. Beautiful. Coming back to center, and we're just going to bring our hands or our forearms over to the right hip this time, spine nice and tall, and then tilting the left ear towards the left shoulder. Beautiful. Coming back to center, we can release our hands, we can shake that out. And we're going to make our way into our tabletop pose. So finding tabletop again, fingertips spread nice and wide, really rooting the fingertips into the mat here, clawing them in almost. Spine is nice and tall. And we're going to draw some hip circles. So reaching the shoulders, maybe even past our wrists, and then circling our hips around to the right. Almost like we're drawing a circle with our belly button here, and then we could change the direction. Be noticing how this feels in our wrists. Beautiful. Coming back to center in our tabletop here, we're going to reach our left foot out to the side. Left toes or left foot is planted on the mat there. Again, fingertips spread nice and wide. And we're just going to rock back and forth. Maybe we can sit back on our heel. Maybe we can't. And that's okay. Just opening up our hip, the inner part of our leg here. Beautiful. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Spine is nice and neutral. We're going to round in like a cat back stretch, really reaching nice and long, chin to chest. And then lowering back to our neutral spine, bringing that left knee in to meet the right. And then reaching the right foot out this time, foot planted on the mat, fingertips spread nice and wide. And again, rocking our hips forward and back. Maybe noticing if you have a little bit more range of movement in one side than the other. And again, just acknowledging that and observing that. Beautiful. One more time. Coming back to our neutral spine, and as we exhale, rounding up in our cat back stretch, chin towards our chest. Exhaling back to neutral, bringing the right knee in to meet the left. Maybe we rock our hips side to side, finding that neutral spine one more time. And as we exhale, lower our belly, shining forward cow. Exhale, rounding into cat. Beautiful cow. And exhaling cat. One more time, breathe. Beautiful. Coming back to center. We're going to walk our hands forward a couple inches here or centimeters. Fingertips spread nice and wide. We're going to tuck our toes. We're going to lift our hips up into a plank. Shoulders over wrists, or we can keep our knees lowered in a kneeling plank, whichever feels better for you. Really pressing this ground away with your palms, pulling our shoulder blades away from the spine, holding it here for a few breaths in plank or kneeling plank. And then exhale, hinging our hips up and back, finding that downward facing dog. Settling in here, maybe we pedal this out. Gonna rock from side to side. Beautiful, holding in stillness for a breath or two. And then on our exhale, we're gonna lower our knees to the mat, maybe to the edge of the mat, big toes touch, sitting back on our heels. Walking our hands forward and finding a child's pose for a breath. Really releasing into our child's pose here. Maybe we even roll at our wrists if that feels good. Or maybe we just find stillness. Beautiful, looking forward under our hands, pressing into our palms, making our way up into our tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bending our knees, walking our feet to the top of the mat, finding forward fold. Really letting our neck be heavy here. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, rooting down as we rise up to the sky. And exhaling, mountain. Finding a breath here, inhaling up to the sky. Exhaling down through heart center. We're going to heel toe our feet out a little bit wider than hips distance apart here. Toes still pointed straight, really strong and rooted in our feet. Maybe pulling up on the inner thighs, really engaging our quads here. Belly button into spine core is nice and strong, or nice and strong. That was the right word. We're going to inhale our arms up to the sky. And then we're going to pretend like we're holding that gigantic beach ball here. So fingertips spread nice and wide, palms facing in, shoulders down the back body here. Feeling how strong and rooted you are in your feet while we're rising up to the sky through the crown of our head and our fingers. One more inhalation here. And then as we exhale, we're just gonna rain our fingers down, hinge at our hips, finding our forward fold, a little bit more wide-legged here. And then we're gonna figure eight from side to side if that feels good. Really reaching around here, making a nice semicircle almost. Beautiful. Coming back to center, maybe we heel toe in just a little bit. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands right or left foot to the back of the mat, lowering that left knee. We can untuck our toes, rising up, kneeling lunge. Exhale, hinging forward, left wrist underneath left shoulder, opening to the right. Again, right hand can also be on our low back. Circling this right arm around, right knee meets left, child's pose. Inhaling, floating forward like a wave to our kneeling plank, shoulders over wrists. We're gonna find two chaturanga push-ups. So that's not in your practice, just hold your plank. We're gonna exhale, lower halfway, elbows into ribs, pressing back up to our kneeling plank. One more time. Exhale, lowering halfway, pressing up. This time we're gonna lower all the way down to our bellies. Beautiful, rooting in tops of our feet, pubic bone, squeezing our shoulder blades together. Inhale, rising up, baby cobra or cobra. Exhale, lower. One more time, inhaling. Exhale, lower. Beautiful, pressing up and back, finding a child's pose. Inhaling forward to our tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bending our knees, walking our feet to the top of the mat, forward fold. Halfway lift, relax. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up to the sky. Exhaling, hands down to our center as we lower into our imaginary chair here. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, right foot to the back of the mat this time, lowering that knee. You can untuck your toes, rising up. Exhale, folding forward, right wrist underneath right shoulder this time, opening to the left. Circling that left arm around, left knee meets right, finding a child's pose. Inhaling forward like a wave to our kneeling plank, and again, finding two of those push-ups or just holding our plank. We're gonna exhale, lower halfway, elbows into ribs, pressing up. One more time, pressing up. And then exhale, lower all the way down to our bellies, finding that root once again. Inhale, lifting up, baby cobra or cobra. Lowering down. Exhale, lift. Lower down. Pressing through our palms, finding a child. Floating forward to our tabletop, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Bending our knees, walking forward to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up to the sky. Exhale, hands down to heart center. Finding our chair as Molly digs herself into her bed over there. Beautiful. Exhale, folding forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, left foot to the back of the mat, high on the ball, under that foot, rising up, or lowering that knee, finding low lunge. Exhale, folding forward, planting our hands, right foot meets left, downward facing dog. Inhaling, floating forward like a wave to plank or kneeling plank, lowering halfway or all the way to the mat. Upward facing dog or cobra. Back to downward facing dog or child's pose. Bending our knees, walking our feet to the top of the mat, finding our forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up. Exhaling down to our imaginary chair. Beautiful, folding forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching the other foot to the back of the mat this time, high on the ball mound, rising up, crescent lunge. Exhale, folding forward, planting our hands, left foot meets right, downward facing dog. Floating forward like a wave, plank or kneeling plank, lowering halfway or all the way to the mat. Upward facing dog, cobra. Back to downward facing dog. or child's pose. Bending our knees, walking to the top of the mat, finding that forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up to the sky. And exhaling, finding our mountain pose. Perhaps we grab a sip of water, whatever feels good for you here. Maybe we just find our mountain pose for a breath. Beautiful. Maybe our shoulders, we give them a little shoulder roll. Maybe we wiggle that out. Beautiful. We're going to inhale our arms up to the sky. We're going to grab our index and thumb, right index and thumb around our left wrist. Inhale, create length, and exhale, pulling that over to the right as we root the left foot into the mat. Inhaling back to center and switching that left index and thumb around the right wrist. Inhale, creating length, growing long, and exhaling to the left. Beautiful. Coming back to center. Finding mountain pose. Inhaling up to the sky. And exhaling, folding down all the way forward. Fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands left foot to the back of the mat, finding that runner's lunge. Again, you can lower your knee if you need to. You can heel toe out that right foot if you need to make more space here. Fingertips light on the mat, heart shining forward, really opening up the left hip flexor here. Beautiful. We're going to pivot that left foot on a 90-degree angle. Rise up. Warrior two. Right palm reach is up. Maybe we reach forward, exalt our warrior here. Inhaling back. Warrior two. We're going to cross the right arm over the left. Maybe we grab onto our shoulder blades here as we give ourselves a little bit of a hug. Some self-love here. Maybe we close our eyes for a breath or two, trusting our body knows where it needs to be. Our eyes are closed. We can slowly bat them open, reaching our arms open. Bending this left arm, right arm, placing it on the top of our thigh, circling our left arm around once, opening up, supported side angle. Maybe we even reach that left arm forward, bicep by our ear, palm facing down. And then as we exhale, we're going to rise up, straightening this right leg, exalting our triangle here. Beautiful. Exhale, lunging into that knee, finding that supported side angle or side angle. And then rising up, exalted triangle. Two more times at your own pace, really moving nice and slow with your breath. One more time. Beautiful. Rising back up. Warrior two. Straightening that right leg, really kicking out this left hip as we reach forward into our triangle. Really reaching up to the sky with our left fingertips here. Opening up our chest. Lunging into that right leg. Finding forward two. We're going to bring our left hand to our left hip, heel toe in that left foot here. We're going to reach forward laterally for our block. Maybe you don't need a block. Oh my goodness, I've reached for my Buddha. I'm falling all over the place here. We're trying to bring our right wrist underneath our right shoulder. If it's available, we're going to open up that left hip towards the left, flexing the left toes. And if we like, we can reach that left arm to the sky. Really, once again, trying to root down to rise up. So rising up through those left fingertips here. Holding for one more breath. And then lunging into that right leg, making our way Very gracefully into our warrior two. Right palm reaches up a little reach forward, exalt our warrior. Beautiful. Warrior two, straightening that right leg, hands to heart center. We're going to pivot our feet so our toes are pointing the long edge of the mat. Hands can start at heart center if you like. And then as we exhale, really hinging at our hips, finding this wide-legged forward fold. Again, we can heel toe out. Your knees can be bent. They don't have to be straight. And if it's available, walking our hands into the midline, elbows towards the back, crown of the head towards the ground. Inhale to halfway lift, walking our hands up, finding that flat back again. Maybe our knees need to be bent. Left hand, fingertips can be cupped or on the mat underneath our face, and we're going to twist open to the right. Beautiful. Coming back to center, right fingertips underneath the face this time. Left arm extending to the left. Beautiful. Twisting out 2 more times to each side. Again, nice and slow with your breath. Last time through each side. Beautiful. Coming center, we're going to walk our hands to the top of the mat as we pivot both our feet, finding runner's lunge just for a second. Bending that left knee, left foot meets right. Forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, rooting down, rising up to the sky. Exhaling. Back to our mountain pose. Beautiful. And then finding that flow on the other side. So starting once again in our mountain pose, inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, right foot to the back of the mat. This time again, you can lower that right knee. We can heel toe with that left foot if you need to make some space there. Trying to let our hip really settle down, opening up the right hip flexor, heart shining forward, fingertips cupped on the mat. Beautiful, pivoting that right foot at a 90-degree angle, rising up. Warrior two. Left palm reaches up a little, reach forward, exalting our warrior. Making our way back to warrior two. This time left arm over top of our right. Maybe we grab onto our shoulder blades here, giving ourselves another nice big hug. Maybe we even keep our shoulders in line with our elbows in line with our shoulders, pulling our shoulders away from our body, opening up into almost an eagle pose here, stretching out the back. Beautiful. Exhale, opening up. Bending the left arm, placing it on the top of our thigh, circling our right arm around once, and then finding our variation of supported side angle or side angle. And then as we exhale, rising up, straightening that left leg, exalting our triangle here. Beautiful. Lowering down, side angle. Rising up, exalted triangle. 2 more times. Beautiful and slow movement here. Last time through. We're making our way to our oh my goodness, warrior two. Straightening that left leg, really kicking out this right hip as we hinge forward. Our triangle again, reaching up through our right fingertips here. Lunging into that left leg. Warrior two. Right hand on our right hip. We're going to heel toe that right foot in. Reaching forward, toppling laterally, finding our block here, left wrist underneath our left shoulder. Beautiful. Opening up that right hip if that feels okay. Flexing the right toes and reaching the right arm to the sky if that's all right. Also knowing that one side might be easier than the other. And that's okay. Bending that left leg, making our way back. Warrior two. We're going to straighten that left leg, hands to heart center, pivoting our feet once again, toes pointed to the long edge of the mat. We're going to reach our arms behind us, finding a chest expansion. So again, we can hold on to opposite elbows, find that beach ball effect, or interlace our fingers, just making sure our shoulder blades are really squeezing together here. Heart shine forward to start. And then as we exhale, hinging forward in whichever arm variation we're in, really letting go here. Our next exhale, rising up with the strength of our legs. And then we're going to heel toe that in. We can let our arms go. We can shake that out. And finding our way to the top of the mat. To pose. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhaling our hands through heart center as we lower into our imaginary chair here. Belly button pulled into spine. Pressing our palms together, creating some tension. If it feels okay, we're going to lift our heels off the mat. And then we're going to lower our bum all the way down to our heels, finding our balancing chair. Beautiful. You can stay here if you'd like to find a little bit more. Right hand outside the left knee, left hand just on our low back here, twisting to the left. Beautiful. Hands to heart center. And as we exhale, folding forward, reaching our hips up to the sky. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching that left foot back, finding our warrior one, left foot at a 45-degree angle. Rising. Beautiful. Bringing our hands to heart center. We're going to pivot that left foot so we find a little bit smaller of a crescent lunge, really rooting into our right foot here. Palms together. We're going to rise up. Toes just gentle on the mat. Spine is nice and tall, finding warrior three. If it feels okay, we're going to hinge forward, flexing those left toes towards the face. Finding an extended variation of warrior three. Arms can be in whichever variation you'd like, reaching forward, finding airplane. Beautiful. One more breath as we exhale. Rising up to standing. We can shake that out. Finding that on the other side. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhaling our hands down through our heart center, lowering into our chair. Maybe we lift our heels off the mat. And maybe we lower all the way down. Beautiful. Spine nice and tall. If we like, left hand outside the right knee, right hand just on our low back, twisting to the right. Inhaling back to center. And as we exhale, hinging forward, reaching our hips up to the sky, finding a forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands, reaching the right foot back on a 45-degree angle this time, rising up. Warrior one. Beautiful. Hands to heart center. Pivoting that right foot, finding a shorter crescent lunge, rooting into our left foot, rising up, toes gentle on the mat. Spine is nice and tall. Again, you can stay here. We'd like, we're going to hinge at our hips, right toes flex towards the face, finding a different variation of warrior 3 here, arms in whichever version feels good for you. Airplane, forward, heart center. Finding one more breath here. Then as we exhale, rising up to standing a bit more gracefully than me, and shaking that out. And then making our way to the top of the mat here. Maybe you grab a sip of water before we head down. Beautiful. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward fold. Halfway. Exhale, fold. Maybe we just let ourselves be heavy here for a breath or two. Really letting our heavy, long. Maybe we take a nice inhale and really exhale it all out. Really loud and audible here. And then on our next exhalation, we're going to slowly rise up one vertebrae at a time. Nice and slow. Arms are heavy. Shoulders back flat. Beautiful. Inhaling up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting our hands and stepping back into our tabletop and lowering all the way down to our bellies. We're going to find just a gentle Sphinx pose. Again, elbows underneath our shoulders, palms facing down. Our feet are almost as wide as the mat here, shoulders away from our ears. We're looking down and ahead. Just letting everything release here. Maybe we close our eyes or soften our gaze for a moment. Beautiful. And then on our next breath, we're going to slowly lower all the way down to our bellies. Hands on either side of our rib cage, pressing up and back, and finding a child's pose. Again, lots of different options in our child's pose. We can find a more closed-legged or wide-legged. Arms can be forward, they can be back by our feet. Maybe we take an active child's pose, fingertips cupped, forearms off the mat, really stretching out our shoulders, whatever feels good for you in this moment. And then in our next few breaths, we're going to walk our hands by our knees and rising up. We are going to find pigeon this evening. So pigeon is not in your practice. I invite you to find that figure 4 stretch on your back. We're going to make our way into pigeon. We're going to walk out here, finding our tabletop, walking our hands just a couple inches further, tucking our toes, lifting our hips up and back, downward facing dog. We're on our backs. We're going to cross our right ankle below the left knee, right toes flex, and maybe we hug that in. Inhaling our right leg to the sky, and then as we exhale, bringing that right knee towards the right wrist, right ankle towards the left wrist. You can walk that hip back. Rising up here, really letting our hips be heavy. Maybe we place a pillow or a block underneath our right hip if we need to. And just checking in to make sure that left leg is parallel with the long edge of your mat. Right toes flexed to protect the knee. And then only when you feel ready, walking down maybe to forearms, maybe all the way down to your bellies, or maybe you stay all the way up. Really breathing into the tight spaces here. We hold a lot of stress and trauma in our hips. So this might feel extremely stretchy tonight. If you have any pain at all, I invite you to rise back up. In our next few breaths. Rising up if that feels good. If this side feels really good and you want to stay here and not switch to the other, I invite you to do that. We're going to plant our hands if we're on our backs. I encourage you to uncross your leg. Maybe you windshield washer that out before moving to the other side. We're going to tuck our left toes, hinge our hips up and back, downward facing dog. Pedaling this out. And then finding your variation on the other side, lifting our left leg to the sky, bringing that left knee towards the left wrist, the left ankle towards the right wrist, walking that hip back. Left toes are flexed in whichever variation you're in. Again, letting your hips really settle in here. And only if it feels okay, walking forward to wherever it feels good for you. Once again, breathing into the tight spaces. And maybe seeing on your exhale if you'll relax just a little bit here. And our next breath, walking our hands back up. We're uncrossing our legs and windshield washing that out. Right toes tucked, lifting our hips up and back, finding downward facing dog, pedaling that out, rocking our hips to side. And then we're going to lower our knees to the mat. We're going to make our way jointly in seated pose here. Legs stretched out, fleshy bits away. Inhaling nice and slow up to the sky. Exhale, really hinging forward before we round in seated forward fold. Tuning back into your breath. Always remembering that with everything in life, you have complete control of your breath. Beautiful on our exhale. We're going to make our way into the middle of the mat. We're going to bring our block or our book or whatever we have with us as we lower all the way down, hugging one knee and then the other knees to chest. We can find stillness or movement here. Beautiful. Finding center, bringing our legs into tabletop here. Arms in cactus or T. And then as we exhale, dropping our knees to the left, making sure that right hip or right shoulder stays rooted. So maybe that means moving our knees further away from our body. We can also place a block underneath our knee if that feels better. We can look up to the sky or out to the right. Feeling your inhalations and your exhalations here. Maybe even feeling the sensation and the twist of bringing ourselves out of everything we don't need. Beautiful. We're going to inhale back to center and exhaling our knees to the right this time. Again, left shoulder rooted. Maybe we look up to the sky or out to the left. Again, you can use your blocks or props underneath your right knee. Beautiful. Inhaling back to center. We're going to lower our feet to the mat. We're going to grab our block or whatever we have available. We're going to lift our hips up just gently, placing it under the sacrum, and then lowering our hips down. We're letting our hips be heavy here for a few breaths. And maybe we stay here. We can also reach our legs forward to the corners of the mat, finding another release of bridge pose here. Or your other variation is lifting one leg up and then the other towards the sky. Supported legs up along. And just finding your breath here. Really starting to release and let go. Becoming heavy on the mat. And if this feels good for you, and feels like a rest, I invite you to stay in whichever version you're in. If you'd like something different, I invite you to find your variation of final resting pose, Shavasana. And when we've arrived once again to our mats, I invite you to take another nice cleansing breath in through the nose, filling up your belly, your ribs, and your chest. And really exhale it all out, loudly sighing, letting it go. Feeling yourself heavy on the mat beneath you. Allowing stillness to call you in. And just for a few moments, finding your breath, trusting the flow of life, allowing to hold this virtual space for you until it's time to call you back. And maybe starting to arrive back in this moment with the breath. Your body feels like it's ready for movement. I invite you to start with some small, gentle movements. Remain stillness. Allowing your body to decide what it needs. Maybe we expand our movements. Maybe we find a big reach, knees to chest, a big hug, maybe a happy baby. And in your next few breaths, if you feel ready, I invite you to bend your knees, placing your feet on the mat, reaching your right or your left arm over your head and rolling over onto your right or your left side body. And then pressing through your palm and making your way into seated lotus pose, however that looks for you. And taking one last breath together here, inhaling nice and slow, reaching up to the sky. And exhaling all that beautiful energy in down to our heart center in gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me once again on this beautiful day. The love and the light in me truly sees and honors the love and the light in each of you. Namaste.
Thank you, Laura. Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. It was